Have you ever imagined walking into your standard two-car garage, pushing past the lawnmower, and spending your weekend bolting together a real, flyable airplane from scratch? Imagine seeing a machine so mechanically raw and brilliantly simple that it takes you straight up into the clouds using the exact same engine that powered your grandfather's vintage car. That is truly incredible. Is backyard aviation just a crazy dream, or the ultimate mechanical reality for those brave enough to turn wrenches? Now in this video, we are counting down 10 incredibly simple DIY aircraft you can build at home. Make sure to stay with me until the very end, because our number one pick looks less like a modern plane and more like a time-traveling masterpiece from the 1920s, powered by a legendary piece of American automotive history. Let us get started. Hit that subscribe button and ring the bell, and let's fire up these engines. Number 10. The Weed Hopper, the ultimate aerial erector set. Born in the late 1970s in the United States, the Weed Hopper was designed to get everyday people into the sky as simply as possible, falling perfectly under the strict FAA. Part 103 regulations, this true ultralight requires absolutely no pilot's license to fly legally. That is amazing. You are looking at a machine that typically runs on a Rotax engine, pushing out 40 horsepower. A dedicated builder can assemble this aircraft for roughly $5,000 to $7,000 in just 300 hours. Visually, the Weed Hopper is the definition of bare-bones mechanical honesty. It features an open-air cockpit that leaves you fully exposed to the elements. The construction relies heavily on pop-riveted aluminum tubing and pre-sewn Dacron sailcloth, meaning you do not need advanced welding skills to put this bird together. It is practically a giant erector set, designed for low and slow recreational flying over open farmland. However, the reality check is that its extremely light weight of 160 pounds makes it highly susceptible to crosswinds. This requires dead calm mornings for a safe flight. The most fascinating aspect of the Weed Hopper is how it democratized aviation. It sparked a massive DIY movement, truly impressive, where thousands of guys with basic hand tools suddenly became pilots in their own backyards. It begs the question, would you trust a bolted-together aluminum frame at 1,000 feet, or do you prefer something with more structural rigidity? Think about that as we move forward. But if you think an aluminum frame wrapped in fabric is wild, wait until you see the alien-like shape of our next aircraft, a machine that completely ditches the tail. Number 9. The Mitchell Wing B10, the flying wing that looks like it came from another planet. Originating in the United States during the late 1970s, this is an absolute anomaly in the home-built world because of its tailless design. Sliding gracefully under the Part 103 ultralight rules, it requires zero licensing. That is very convenient. Powered by a small Zenoa engine cranking out 30 horsepower, it is incredibly efficient. Builders can expect to spend around $6,000 to $8,000 and dedicate roughly 400 hours to meticulously assembling the structure. Walking up to the B10, you are struck by its extreme extraterrestrial visual presence. It looks like a military stealth glider crossed with a giant mechanical bat. The sight is unforgettable. The build process utilizes lightweight spruce wood and a delicate truss structure, all covered in the aircraft fabric to create its sweeping wingspan. Designed to deliver incredible glide ratios, it is a favorite for soaring. However, the reality check is that while the flying wing is highly efficient, it demands incredibly precise center of gravity calculations. Get it wrong by just an inch, and it becomes dangerously unstable. The story behind this machine is rooted in American innovation. Designer Don Mitchell took inspiration from experimental gliders to prove you did not need a conventional tail to achieve sustained flight. It sparks a fantastic mechanical debate. Quite interesting. Does eliminating the tail section represent the ultimate form of aerodynamic purity, or a terrifying compromise in control? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. But if this tailless wonder seems unconventional, the next machine on our list brings things back to a classic rugged look, using an engine straight from a scrapyard. Number 8. The Legal Eagle XL, the ultimate budget flyer with a chopped-in-half car engine. Designed in the late 1990s, this version was scaled up to carry taller pilots, meaning it often crosses the 254-pound limit and must be registered as an experimental aircraft. The absolute heart of this aircraft is its half-VW engine, a standard Volkswagen Beetle block cut in half to produce 30 horsepower. A crazy idea. You can build this entire aircraft for around $5,000 to $8,000 in about 600 hours. Visually, the Legal Eagle XL is a love letter to vintage aviation. It looks exactly like a classic Piper Cub, stripped down to its bare skeleton. The craftsmanship involves a steep learning curve, as the fuselage is constructed from TIG-welded 4130 chromoly steel tubing, giving it phenomenal structural strength. It is designed for low-altitude cruising at 50 miles per hour. However, the serious reality check is the welding requirement. If your welds are sloppy, the integrity of the aircraft is compromised, making this a project for those who truly respect metalwork. The legendary status of this plane comes from its engine crossover brilliance, proving that a cheap, mass-produced German car engine could be chopped in half to create a highly reliable aviation power plant. Truly impressive. This leads to a massive debate. Is it safer to rely on a repurposed heavy-duty automotive block or a lighter, high-revving modern aviation two-stroke? It is a battle of old-school torque versus modern efficiency. But if hacking a VW engine is genius, our next aircraft uses space-age materials to achieve the exact same weightless dream. Number 7. The Belite Ultralight, the high-tech carbon fiber bush plane. Hailing from Wichita, Kansas, the Belite burst onto the scene by taking classic designs and reimagining them with modern engineering. Staying true to the strict weight limits of Part 103, it offers unlicensed flight, but with a premium enclosed cabin feel. Powered by a Zunzadera engine pushing 40 horsepower, it provides serious thrust. Because of the advanced aerospace materials involved, the cost sits slightly higher at around $10,000 to $15,000, requiring roughly 400 hours of assembly time. When you look at the Belite, you see the perfect marriage of vintage aesthetics and cutting-edge composite technology. The secret to its incredibly low weight is the extensive use of carbon fiber woven into the spars, combined with aircraft-grade aluminum. It is built for pilots who want a rugged look but need the aircraft to weigh max under 254 pounds. Very clever. The reality check is the handling of carbon fiber. Working with composites requires strict temperature control and a clean environment, making it less forgiving than bolting metal tubes together. The real story of Belite is a testament to pushing regulatory limits. As creators obsessively shaved off ounces using carbon technology just to legally fit an enclosed cabin into the ultralight category, that is wild. It introduces a fascinating technical debate. Do you trust the immense tensile strength of space-age carbon fiber, or prefer the predictable fatigue signs of classic steel and aluminum? Both have hardcore defenders. But if carbon fiber sounds a bit too modern for your blood, our next aircraft is going to take you straight back to the golden age of woodworking. Number 6. The Fisher FP202 Koala, the wooden masterpiece of the 1980s. Introduced by Fisher Flying Products, this classic design captures the soul of traditional aviation. Being heavier than ultralight limits, it is strictly registered as an experimental aircraft, meaning you absolutely need a pilot's license. Keep that in mind. Typically powered by a Rotax 503 engine generating 50 horsepower, it cruises comfortably at 60 miles per hour. A craftsman can build this wooden marvel for roughly $6,000 to $9,000, requiring about 600 hours of labor. Visually, the Koala is an absolute stunner. Designed as an authentic-looking, scaled-down replica of the iconic Piper J3 Cub, complete with a fully enclosed cockpit and rugged tailwheel landing gear, The construction is a woodworker's dream, utilizing a wooden fuselage made primarily from aircraft-grade spruce and birch plywood, all meticulously bonded together. It is a highly practical machine for weekend cross-country hops. However, the major reality check here is moisture. A wooden aircraft demands a dry hangar because wood rot is a silent structural killer in the aviation world. The Koala holds a special place in history because it proved that average guys with basic carpentry skills and a lot of clamps could build a structurally sound aircraft using techniques from World War I. That is brilliant. It poses a fascinating question. In an age of steel and carbon fiber, is properly treated spruce wood still the ultimate material for absorbing engine vibration? There is a reason wood has been used for a century. Speaking of classics, if you thought the wooden Koala was great, the next one can actually land on water. Hey, if you are loving these incredible DIY machines and dreaming of your own garage project, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell. We appreciate it. It really helps YouTube show this video to more gearheads like us. Now let's get back to the countdown. Number 5. The Volmer VJ24W Sunfun, the ultimate amphibious backyard glider. Designed by legendary engineer Volmer Jensen in the 1970s, the Sunfun is a unique aircraft that originated as a rigid hang glider. Kept under strict weight limits, it operates perfectly as a powered ultralight glider with no license required. A major plus, it usually utilizes a small 15-horsepower engine, just enough to sustain altitude. Building the Sunfun is incredibly budget-friendly, costing around $4,000 to $6,000 and requires about 400 hours of labor, mostly focused on the wing. The visual design of the Sunfun is very striking, featuring a massive high-lift wing mounted on a robust aluminum tube boom with the pilot suspended below in a minimalist sling seat. What makes its construction special is the combination of aluminum tubing and rigid foam ribs wrapped in fabric, making it incredibly buoyant. It was designed for lake lovers, capable of being flown low over the water. The reality check is its massive wingspan combined with low power. It is purely a fair-weather machine, and hitting a strong headwind will stop your forward progress. Volmer Jensen created this machine out of a pure desire to give everyday people the ability to soar like birds. Bridging the gap between hang gliding and powered flight. What a vision. This brings up a massive debate. Would you rather have a powerful engine that can blast through the wind, or a massive, highly efficient wing that lets you glide silently if the motor ever quits? It is a trade-off between raw power and pure aerodynamics. If gliding slowly over a lake isn't aggressive enough, our next aircraft looks exactly like a miniature fighter jet. Number 4. The Hummel Ultra Cruiser, the all-metal silver bullet of the skies. Designed by Hummel in the late 1990s, this is a masterpiece of American sheet metal engineering that legally qualifies as an ultralight. This means you get a gleaming metal airplane with 0 pilot's license required. Unbelievable. The heartbeat is the legendary half VW engine pumping out 30 horsepower through a direct-drive propeller. To get this metal bird in your garage, expect an investment of about $12,000 and roughly 700 hours of rivet-popping labor. Visually, the Ultra Cruiser looks very fast even when sitting still. Featuring a low-wing cantilever design with an enclosed bubble canopy that screams classic fighter plane aesthetics. The entire build relies on aircraft-grade aluminum, requiring the builder to measure, cut, and drive thousands of solid rivets to form the stressed skin fuselage. It is the perfect cross-country cruiser, offering a fast cruise speed of 65 miles per hour. However, the reality check is the sheer volume of riveting. If you are impatient with a rivet gun, you will end up with a weak airplane. Hummel's story is a legend. After surviving a horrific crash, he designed the Ultra Cruiser specifically so he could easily climb in and continue flying safely in his later years. What resilience! It sparks a fantastic mechanical argument. When it comes to outdoor weather resistance, does an all-metal stressed skin design absolutely obliterate fabric and wood construction? Most sheet metal guys will say yes without hesitation. But if modern aluminum isn't your style, get ready, because our next machine is going to transport you straight into a World War I dogfight. Number 3. The Airdrome Aeroplane's Dream Classic, the Backyard Time Machine. Straight out of Missouri, this aircraft is designed for the builder who wants the romance of early military aviation without the danger of a full-scale restoration. Depending on the final weight, it can squeeze into the ultralight category for unlicensed flight. Very impressive. Power comes from modern two-stroke engines, requiring around 40 horsepower to get its drag-heavy frame off the ground. You can build this piece of flying history for roughly $8,000, and the build time is a manageable 400 hours. Visually, the Dream Classic is a showstopper. It is a scaled-down replica of a World War I parasol monoplane, complete with wire-braced wings and a round open cowling. The construction cleverly hides modern materials beneath a historic skin, utilizing lightweight aluminum tubing fastened with heavy-duty structural rivets, covered in traditional doped aircraft fabric. It allows the pilot to feel like a 1917 fighter ace, the ultimate experience. The serious reality check is aerodynamic drag. Those vintage flying wires create massive air resistance, meaning this plane climbs slowly and demands careful energy management. The genius of Airdrome lies in their ability, taking the highly dangerous wooden structures of original fighters and replacing them with simple bolt-together aluminum that anyone can safely assemble in a garage. A massive step. This ignites a great conversation. Is it better to preserve the absolute structural authenticity of a wooden antique, or use modern metal tubing to safely recreate the vintage look for a fraction of the cost? It is a battle between purists and practical builders, but if you think a replica is peak garage building, our next aircraft features folding wings. Number 2. The Bowers Flybaby, the heavy-duty wooden workhorse. Designed by Peter Bowers in 1960, the Flybaby won a massive design contest by proving it was the ultimate, easy-to-build airplane for the average American. Because of its structural weight of over 600 pounds, this is strictly an experimental aircraft requiring a pilot's license. Quite strict. The engine bay frequently accepts heavily converted car engines, like the Corvair Flat 6. Building a Flybaby today costs around $12,000, demanding a solid 800 hours of dedicated craftsmanship. Walking around a Flybaby, you see a robust low-wing monoplane, powerful with rugged landing gear, and an open cockpit that practically begs for aviator glasses. The construction is a masterclass in classic woodworking, utilizing massive spruce longerons and plywood gussets, creating a structure that is overbuilt and incredibly tough, very solid. The most brilliant practical application is its folding wing mechanism. You can fold the wings back and tow the airplane home behind a pickup truck. The reality check is the massive physical size of the wooden components, requiring a large, perfectly level workbench. The Flybaby cemented its legacy because Peter Bowers intentionally designed it to be built with basic tools you could buy at any local hardware store, truly democratizing aviation. Great vision. It brings up an awesome debate. Would you trust your life to an air-cooled Chevrolet Corvair car engine flying at 5,000 feet? Or do you stick to expensive aviation engines? For hot rodders, the choice is clear. Speaking of hot-rodding old car engines, buckle up, because our number 1 pick utilizes an engine straight out of a 1920s Ford. Number 1. The Pietenpol Air Camper, the airplane that aeronautical engineers swore would never fly. Designed in 1928 by Bernard Pietenpol, the Air Camper represents the very soul of American DIY ingenuity. A spectacular machine. This is a fully registered experimental aircraft requiring a pilot's license. The defining characteristic is its power plant, designed specifically to fly using a heavy cast-iron Ford Model A car engine, producing 40 honest horsepower. Building a Pietenpol from scratch costs around $12,000. requiring roughly 1,200 hours of precision cutting and heavy engine tuning. Visually, the Air Camper is breathtakingly nostalgic, featuring a high parasol wing, open cockpits for two, and a massive exposed radiator up front to keep that Ford engine cool. The construction is pure tradition, built entirely from hand-selected spruce and ash wood, reinforced with steel fittings and covered in fabric. It is a time machine meant for lazy Sunday flights, where the heavy thumping of the Model A sounds like a flying tractor. Very cool. The severe reality check is the engine's weight-to-power ratio. The cast-iron block makes the climb rate painfully slow. The history of the Air Camper is the ultimate underdog story. When Pietenpol first proposed flying with a Ford engine, professional engineers laughed, claiming it was too heavy to leave the ground. So wrong. Pietenpol proved them wrong, showing that any man with basic tools and a cheap car engine could conquer the sky. This leaves us with the ultimate question. In an era of computerized jets, is the raw, vibrating mechanical soul of a 1920s car engine still the greatest way to experience flight? I think we all know the answer. These incredible machines represent the unbreakable human spirit of invention and the greasy joy of building something with your own two hands. They share one thing in common: real mechanical solutions created by everyday people. Which of these aircraft did you find the strangest? If you had an empty garage this weekend, which one would you start building? And is there a legendary home-built plane I missed? Let me know in the comments. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. See you next week.